Hello and welcome to The Gaggle, where we challenge and, if necessary, destroy media narratives. I'm George Samuely. With me today, of course, is co-founder of The Gaggle, Peter Lavelle, host also of RT's talk show, Crosstalk. Well, the Democrats are true to their word. They never let a crisis go to waste. And they seized on the events of January the 6th into a full-blown war against whom? A war against half of America, all in the name of combating domestic terrorism, white supremacy, KKK, and every kind of extremist imaginable. Let's not forget that this is a continuation of war that the Democrats launched following the 2016 election. Then the enemy was Russia and all the Russian bots and all the agents of Russian disinformation. And incidentally, Russia is still lurking in the background amidst all of the Democrat paranoid screeching, because as I think we've already discussed, both Hillary Clinton and Nancy Pelosi suggest that Putin was the ultimate mastermind behind the January the 6th events. There was a very interesting tweet by a Democratic congressman the other day. His name, one hardly know who it is. It's Representative Anna Eshoo, in which she says, for years, social media companies have allowed harmful disinformation to spread through their platforms, polluting the minds of the American people. And then she goes on to say that the big tech has allowed its algorithms to undermine our shared sense of objective reality and facilitate connections between extremist users. The Stalinist tones are really quite chilling. Objective reality. Who's that? Extremists. Who are they? This isn't going to end anytime soon, and it's not going to end well. What's your take, Peter?
Well, and then we can just tie on to that what John Brennan said, some pearls of wisdom from the former CIA director, who was an avowed communist at one time in his life. Yes. Remarkable life, isn't it? And now he chimes on KGB. And this is what he said. Biden's intel community, quote, are moving in laser-like fashion. I've heard that one before. To try to uncover as much as they can about the pro-Trump insurgency that harbors religious extremists, authoritarians, fascists, bigots, racists, nativists, and even libertarians. He actually said that. He actually said that. Unless that was probably the greatest deep fake of all time, he actually said that. No, you're absolutely right. And I think that you really hit it on the head. I mean, that this is very Stalin-esque in approach, because Stalin said there are wreckers out there. They're wreckers. We don't know where they are, but they're wrecking, okay? And we must find them, okay? And then it got to the point where you needed a quota of wreckers. They show that you're absolutely committed to the cause here. This is fanatical. This is absolutely fanatical. What are they talking about? Religious extremists, authoritarians, fascists, bigots, racists, nativists, and even libertarians.
Right. Yes.
What, dog lovers going to be thrown into that? People that own goldfish?
Because if you remember the dog lovers, remember that dog lovers Facebook page that we were told was actually created by Russia. So, the dog lovers are also not at all safe from the purge. No, I mean, it's what's really happening here is a criminalization of speech in the name of combating violence. Well, of course, you can pretty much say anything, any speech at all may lead to somebody else and somebody would lead to somebody else further down the chain to commit violence. And therefore it becomes a justification for wholesale crackdown on speech. I mean, you know, you and I can speak harshly about some politician, but it may incite somebody else, a third person, to reach for his or her gun and shoot the politician. So it becomes a kind of a mechanism, and that's why it brings up the Stalinist thing, is that, well, anytime wrong think and wrong speak could lead to terrorist acts. And this is really very, very chilling.
Well, the interesting thing for me is that, you know, you and I are keen observers of what's said in the public sphere. And I have to tell you, George, and I'm sure you'll agree with me, I feel assaulted, insulted all day long by the nonsense that people are spewing out, okay? Objective reality. Well, that's because these people are ideologically possessed, and they have an ideological view of the world, which does not allow any other thought to enter it, okay? I mean, you know, it's really quite pathetic that we've heard over the years, and particularly in the last month or so, about, you know, Trump supporters are part of a cult. Well, what I would react to that is that the mainstream media and their friends in big tech and the Democratic Party, they're one big cult, okay? And people within that cult are very, very careful not to go outside the lines, okay? It's always better, you know, instead of saying, hey, I think we're going a little bit too far, the point is that how many people have you denounced today?
Yes.
Are you going soft on us right now?
Yes.
Who are you gonna denounce?
Right.
And this is how it goes. So they're living in a very insular, very frightening world, okay? And because they're frightened, they lash out to anyone that isn't part of their following, okay? Or to use a phrase from the summer, that are not their allies, okay?
Right. No, that's exactly right. And the list of enemies is quite extensive. I mean, you quoted Brennan. You're talking now about religious extremists, libertarians. You think, well, surely, you know, they have nothing in common. But yeah, apparently they're also part of the enemy. Republicans in general are part of the enemies list. Obviously, the followers of Donald Trump. Well, that's 74 million people, and so it goes. So you really do have to declare war against the rest of the country. And so therefore you've got to just keep ratcheting up this supposed fear of insurrection, violence. And there's a real hypocrisy here, because remember that that person, I can't remember his name, Sanderson or whatever, the one who shot up that baseball match, the congressional baseball match, I think 2017. He was an avowed Bernie Sanders follower. Now, nobody, the Republicans didn't, the media didn't. The media say, well, it's the Democrats who instigated this, with all the hysterical talk about Trump being in cahoots with Putin, the Republicans being paid agents of the Kremlin. This is what led this man to start shooting. No, nobody said that, because it would have been ridiculous. But had it been the other way around, yeah, the Democrats absolutely would have. Can you imagine if some character, some Republican, some Trump follower had started shooting up a baseball match? Look, Patriot Act 2.0 would already be on Biden's desk today.
See, the real danger that we're living in right now is that you can't unring these bells. Because if you have, you know, we take Brennan's list and then the other lists from other people here, you've already set the stage where compromise is not possible. You can't compromise with these people, okay? See, they've gotten so far over their skis is that you can't retreat. You can't retreat and say, okay, well, let's sit down and hash this out. They've gone beyond that point. And that's what makes it so dangerous, because no one wants to take the first step. And if you're on the being persecuted, You know, what am I supposed to do? Is say, okay, if you spare me, I'll sit and I'll be quiet and I'll look it down at the floor. Okay, is that enough for you? Because that's what they want. Okay, and that's not going to happen with half the population. It's you know, I'll give the simplest example to everyone over the last few years. Putin is like Hitler. Okay, well then you can't sit down with Hitler, can you?
That's exactly right.
Okay, I mean, you've already taken that off the table. You've already taken negotiation and compromise and dialogue. Everything is off the table because you've already gone to that extreme here. And I abhor that. I have mentioned this for years with people. Because, okay, Russiagate is a domestic American political cudgel. Okay, that's what it all is. It's obviously fake. Okay, and it was an invented conspiracy to taint the Trump presidency, but it got way out of hand. And you're absolutely right. I think you were the first person to put it out very, very clearly that this is just an extension of it, because it's the same approach with a different content. Okay, it is the inability to tolerate another opinion, okay? And you cannot function as a society that way. It doesn't work. I mean, Abraham Lincoln said it the best: a house divided against itself cannot stand. And these people are running at full speed towards the abyss. They want to go there. And my sense is, George, is that they're provoking a fight. They're going, come on, let's start it, okay? And I think all these people are saying, what is wrong with you people? Right. Calm down.
Right.
I mean, these people, they're overjoyed with January 6th, okay? This was the opening that they've been looking for.
Yes. Exactly. It's and it does go back to the 2016. The Democrats refused to accept the defeat, that election outcome. They refused to accept it. You know, to this day they refuse to accept it. But you know, they've now turned this around again. You know, to say, if you don't accept this election result, then you are a traitor. You're engaging in sedition. You're engaging in insurrection, terrorism. So that's it. So in other words, you know, those who today don't accept this election are basically in cahoots with domestic terrorists. I mean, it's an amazing performance by the Democrats, who to this day openly, you know, say 2016 was illegitimate. They don't accept that outcome, but if you don't accept this outcome, then you're a terrorist.
See, one way to step back, for everyone to step back, is that we can use 2000. Did George W. Bush win that election? I don't know. I know who was inaugurated. He was inaugurated. Did Donald Trump win the election fair and square? Well, in the minds of many, many people, he didn't, okay? But he was inaugurated. Now we go now. Do I feel that the 2020 presidential election was clean? No, I think there was a lot of fraud. And as I said every time we've talked about this topic, there were too many ballots out there for my liking, okay? Just begging to be manipulated. However, Joe Biden has been inaugurated president. He is the president of the United States. And I say that now. When the electors certified the election, I called him president-elect, okay? I'm playing by the rules. And everyone has to do this or we're in a very, very bad place, okay? I'm not happy Joe Biden is president of the United States. Of course I'm not, but he is, okay? And, you know, make a concession to reality, okay? Instead of talking about objective reality, whatever that means, okay? Right. It's only simpletons that say that. Simpletons say that, okay?
Right. Well, that's it. And now,
you know what it reminds me of? You know what it reminds me of? I remember when I was in grade school, and our teacher asked us, so how do you celebrate Christmas in your home? Okay, you know, some open their presents on Christmas Eve, some on Christmas morning. You know, maybe they leave cookies and warm milk for Santa. You know, we were all little tots. And then the teacher went to another one. So, well, we're Jewish and we celebrate Hanukkah. And, you know, and most of the kids said, oh, okay, fine. But there was this one little girl, I remember her face, I don't remember her name, but she just couldn't stand for it. So, but when do you celebrate Christmas? When? You must celebrate. Everyone celebrates Christmas.
Right.
What's wrong with you and your family? You must celebrate. And these are like Democrats today, okay? It must be a certain way. And if it's any deviation, there must be something wrong. And then if there's something wrong, it must be seditious, okay? No, it's just a different tradition, a different way of thinking about the world, okay? And, you know, we've lived with that, okay? The Republic lived with that. We survived a civil war, okay?
Well, that's the thing. I mean,
because
objective reality means
at the end of the day, we're all sovereigns. And at the end of the day, we have the Constitution. And as much as people abhor the Constitution, it's the only thing that's kept the country together.
Well, that's the problem.
Okay?
That when you start talking about
objective, change and amend, yes, maybe it should be.
Yeah, but that's the problem. When you start talking about objective reality, you're essentially identifying reality and truth with your point of view. And of course, that's something that's creeping in more and more, not just among politicians, but among the media. So when you have the New York Times, all the news that's fit to print, there essentially you have a news story that is simply an editorial. So you got essentially, they say, oh, this and this has been debunked. So that's it, readers. Don't even bother to look into what the person said. It has been debunked. That's in a news story. Not say this is the thesis. Somebody else has argued another thesis. No, it has been debunked. That's you people need to understand this. Same with you know, they reported, I think yesterday, about how Biden canceled Trump's 1776 commission. They didn't, you know, the New York Times didn't describe, well, what is the 1776 Commission? The 1776 Commission, which has been found to distort American history and particularly slavery. So that's it. That's it. That's you know that's the objective truth. Our opinions will now be valid for everyone. So in other words, there's no attempt any longer to present, okay, here's one point of view, here's another point of view. The reader has to then judge, go to the source, find out whether that is valid, go to the criticism, find out if that's valid. No, you are told it has been debunked. So shut up and accept it.
Yeah, I mean, okay, objective reality. Okay, the immiseration of the middle class. Oh, it's because of systemic racism. Well, an alternative view, which I would take, it has nothing to do with systemic racism. There's no such thing. I mean, if there was systemic racism, then why are there caravans in Mexico getting ready to cross the border, okay, if there's systemic racism, okay? And if there's systemic racism, why do Asian Americans make more money than white Americans, okay? It doesn't make any sense. Why do immigrants from Africa make more money than African Americans? Does everybody know that they're Africans, so they're not subject to systemic racism? That's all garbage. So why are wages going up? It's because of neoliberalism. Okay, that's what it is. Okay, it's the export of jobs and the import of cheap labor. It has nothing to do with race at all.
But that's
okay?
it.
I'm trying to have a discussion and an argument. But if I bring up that other argument of neoliberalism, you're a racist. What, huh? Well, they don't listen. They don't hear.
Well, exactly. You're a racist. And as if that's not bad enough, you could be on the way to being a white supremacist. And if that's not bad enough, you could be on the way to insurrecting and inciting violence. So it's just a few steps down the road from arguing what you just argued, very reasonable position. Oh, you're in the business of inciting violence, and you may have been taking part in the January the 6th assault on the Capitol, which will now, grow in magnitude as more horrible than Pearl Harbor, 9/11, and the Kennedy assassination rolled into one. But again, it continuing in 2016, because you remember when the Russian hack of the 2016 election was supposed to be Pearl Harbor, the Kennedy assassination, and 9/11 all rolled into one.
Yeah, but the thing is, what's really interesting is that the speed of all of this is extraordinary. I mean, we talked about this yesterday, is that now vetting all of the troops that are in Washington, D.C. I mean, this is just extraordinary here. I mean, you're looking for the wreckers inside the military right now. I mean, this is, McCarthy did this, there's spies all over the State Department and all of that. And I have their names in this briefcase here. And that was universally condemned after the fact. It took a few, Edward R. Murrow and other great lights of that time said, enough, Joe, enough of this, okay? But there's no one out there that's gonna say enough right now at all. And I really want to stress here, not to be, alternative facts type thing here, but what Joe is already suggesting for Congress is dead on arrival, other than what he can do through executive order. And so this is going to give these people more venom to go down this path. Excuse me, go ahead.
No, I think that's exactly right. So, I mean, everybody today is against Joe McCarthy. The point is, it's easy to be against Joe McCarthy now, 60 years, what's now 70 years after the fact. The point is to be against the McCarthy of today, that's the part that's hard. Because, back in the McCarthy era, everybody hated the Soviet Union. Everybody was hysterical about the Soviet Union. Stalin, Stalin, Stalin. So now, of course, that's old hat and everybody's against that. But today, everyone is hysterical about Trump, 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 all the terrible things that Trump is doing. That's the one you have to oppose, the McCarthyism of today, not the McCarthyism of 70 years ago, because it's the McCarthyism of today that we need to be addressing.
What my point, you're absolutely right. My
no,
point
you weren't saying that. I'm not
this...
criticizing you. I mean, I was just saying general, yeah.
Yeah, but what's it's really sad about this is that they've just made it a part of their policy. That you not only should you be suspicious of half the country, you have to hate them. Because you will only find a moral purity if you show your venom for your fellow citizen.
Right.
This is just insanity. Right. It's just insanity. And if they don't pull, because for every action there is an equal reaction. Okay, there will be a reaction to this. Okay, I mean, people are not going to take this sitting down, right, at all. And particularly people that feel. I mean, you and I watch news programs, primarily the Fox ones, and I have to say that I'm basically more or less sympathetic to a lot of things that are said, but there's a lot of things that I will quibble about, a lot of things, and I try to keep an open mind here, and I don't follow any particular line. I have my own opinions. Even you and I disagree on some things here. But if you're being forced into a lane and you can't get out of that lane, and you face social, you could be ostracized. This is something, I mean, I changed my mind on things. As I've gotten older, I've changed my mind on many things here, okay? We have to be able to do that to grow as a society. If you're forcing people, I mean, again, going back to the Soviet Union, we already had a case of a young woman informing on the authorities that her mother went to the Trump rally, okay? Now that is tearing a page from the Soviet Union, okay? Where you turn in your parents, okay? This is, I keep saying it, this is ideological possession. This isn't used that's exactly logic and whatever objective reality is. I mean, this is objective reality. Only simpletons talk like that.
Well, it's simpletons, but terrifying simpletons, because I mean, these are people with some power. A congressperson has power, and they can do nasty things. And after what are they doing now? They are intimidating the big tech companies to deplatform more and more and more people, and to check on everybody else, to say what are they communicating? What ideas are they expressing? What podcasts are they posting? That's what they do. So a congressperson who says objective reality, he's saying it to big tech. Hey, you better keep an eye out on objective reality and not allow subjectivism to get in the way, to borrow, the Stalinist terminology.
Well, we know what happened there. It ended up being a catastrophe. I can also tell you that it has a lingering effect. It severely damaged society. It takes a long time to recover from that. And what I find, extraordinary is that in the US right now, people are just diving into it with revel. You know, this is their big chance to show their purity, to show their greatness, their virtue. And again, I don't want to, you know, overstate the point, but these people are usually kind of mediocre in ability and thought, okay? And they're all called our ruling class, okay? And they grab onto these things here because they're easy to understand and they're easy tools to apply. You know, instead of thinking about, you know, the problems of how to restructure the economy, have more control of your supply chains. I mean, that's a lot of money. It's a lot of thought. It's a lot of work. But no, it's systemic racism in a Trump supporter. Problem solved. You know what? It doesn't solve anything.
No,
it doesn't solve anything.
Yep. Yeah. All right. Well, we will, of course, maintain our laser-like focus on the lunacy, and we will be back soon. And remember, if you like the gaggle, please like, share, and subscribe. See you soon. Bye.